I promise you, it's not going to be just me and Marcus, but we got a very special guest coming up. Don't go anywhere. Aquarian Anarchy coming right back at you. Let's go. Our quote for tonight is from Mahatma Gandhi. When I despair, I remember that all through history, the way of truth and love have always won. There have been tyrants and murderers, and for a time, they can seem invincible, but in the end, they always fail. Think of it, always. And with that, I welcome you to Aquarian Anarchy. Where did she go? Well, we're working on. Oh, where you at, Marcus?
She's coming.
Okay, there she is. Oh, there's Nicco. All right, so here comes Nicco.
There she is.
All right. The gang's all here. Let's go. Yeah, I got it. I'm gonna put everybody up. Let's go. I'm gonna do
What's
this.
up?
I'm gonna slide.
This is a fucking struggle. Oh my god, I am so sorry.
Starting with chaos. Yay!
Look, I'm just gonna get this thing started off right real quick. I wear a specific shirt every week that I typically try to keep it consistent with whatever we're talking about that week. And this week is no different. I think this is just for you. It's a Darth Vader shirt, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Welcome, Skye Daddy, Alchemical Daddy, Coin Daddy. I don't know. The normies hate this account. You name it. How you been? How you feeling?
I'm doing good. What about you guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Doing great. Looking forward to this conversation because I think we have a lot more in common than, frankly, a lot of people. So I really look forward to diving into spirituality as it relates to freedom and other things with you but not to get into that quite yet.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Hatred and disdain for the government combined with a focus on the hereafter is something I think that we can all kind of appreciate together.
Yeah,
I would say
for sure.
So, well, how you been? How you been doing? How's everything been going? I know you a busy lady out here.
Yes, it's going good. It's going good. I wake up like at 4:00, and so most of my clients, because I'm a neuromuscular therapist, so I do that most in the morning and stuff. So by this time, I'm pretty high and tired. But other than that, I'm pretty good.
Right on. Well, high and tired is a very good headspace to be in for 111.
That's a beautiful thing to have. Is being high and tired. Right. It's not great being drunk and tired.
No.
Let me tell you.
Oh God.
Oh wait. I'm sorry to do this to this interview and derail it, but I got a problem with you at this moment in time. Yes, Miss Skye Daddy.
Uh-oh.
Yep. Why you on dirt with One Piece? Why you on dirt with One Piece? Why you on dirt with one of the coldest animes out here? Why you on dirt?
No one has time to get through 1,000 episodes where 90%
told
is
you to sit down and watch every single filler. You can skip fillers. You can definitely hop over some fillers. Like,
no, I'm not going into all that, man. I'm not. Even without
just
fillers, that's ridiculous. Like, you can't wrap up a storyline that fucking quickly. Like, I don't, just for real. Like, even without fillers, that's ridiculous to have that many damn episodes. I'm just not even.
Do you like read manga at all, or is it just strictly anime?
I think I read a few mangas. The one that I liked the most was Fooly Cooly, like a long time ago.
Okay,
that shit was weird, and I loved it.
Yeah, no, Fooly Cooly only had like 4 episodes of an anime. I haven't read the manga, but it was a dope ass show. That was a dope ass show. Weird really as fuck, but yeah. All right.
Yeah, a lot of that shit is.
Yeah, that's how anime goes. But all right, we didn't drag you here for that. I was just on bullshit with you. But,
we drug her here because she's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
so for those people, which I don't know what rock they crawled under, but tell us who you are. Tell us about yourself. Tell us the personality that is Skye Daddy. Who are you?
I ain't shit. No, I'm just kidding. I started off with an account called Skye Daddy. Well, actually, that's probably my second account. But I used to be just on Twitter as a regular user in the liberal letter community. I wasn't a liberal, but I was in the gay community, and everyone there was liberal. And then around election time, when we start talking about politics, I already thought there was so much shit in that community that was just ridiculous. But around when like politics started coming up, I'm like, wait, the liberalism started showing. Like it wasn't even a thing. It's honestly crazy thinking how we went from like being people who can just not worry about politics and things could be non-political to everything being politicized like that. Right. So I pretty much, just triggered everyone in that community and just was like, fuck you guys. You guys are the most self-serving pieces of shit I've ever met. And then I started talking about politics. And then this was before the vax and everything. So before the vax, I was talking about my politics and people would label me a leftist. Mind you, I never said I was a leftist, never fought against it. I didn't care. To me, labels are pointless and they're used to divide. So if that's how people label me, they labeled me. But all of a sudden, when I maintain my anti-corporate, anti-big pharma, anti-everyone should do what the fuck they want, and anarchist stance, all of a sudden now I'm shift to the right.
Right. And don't forget, you're also a white supremacist.
I mean, oh, definitely, and a transphobe and a homophobe and all that good shit, and a chauvinist and fat phobic. So I mean, like, I maintain. I'm sorry, I didn't know consistent beliefs could make such a switch. Right. So eventually, I got put into this like villain role for the lefties, and I honestly was fun as fuck to me. I love triggering people. It's hilarious. I can't be like, yeah, I want to help people. I do want to help people, but also I want to be entertained by them sometimes. So I just would trigger people. It's super easy, and then that's how a lot of stuff started. And I started doing podcasts, and here we are.
And thank God we are here, because this sets up to be, I think, one of our more. I know we don't have a ton of time, but I think we can get pretty deep pretty quickly. Like I think we've talked a lot recently via Twitter about how there's some people who choose to just completely eschew and pretend like spirituality and faith and those sorts of things don't really play a role in what's going on around us. But I think that there is another segment of people who think that like it is a tool to use to somehow combat in this physical realm what's going on. And I think we share the sentiment that no, this is about something bigger and grander than that. Something that is unseen, something that is ethereal, that this battle is not flesh and blood. It's something else. And using that as just a tool to combat this stuff in flesh and blood is actually like, is kind of part of falling into the trap, because you're losing sight of what goes on beyond the here and now. So give me a little bit of your that at least that's my take, is that this stuff people focus way too much on, like, well, maybe if I use God to stop me from being mandated to do this for my job, I'll be able to save my job. It's like, no, you're completely missing the point.
Yeah.
Like you're focusing on the minutia when like the bigger picture is way more important than that. So where do you fall on that?
Well, at first, going into when I found myself in a political Twitter, because again, it wasn't really a intentional thing. My idea was to maybe point out inconsistencies and hypocrisies to help people question themselves. Because the direct route, one, I'm so fucking harsh. My direct route is ineffective. It's entertaining to me, but ineffective to most. And two, I think people react based off more so learning and that little cognitive dissonance. Because even if people get mad, like I can look back to things that people said to me that I got mad at and that was like self-righteously against. And now I'm like, oh, I'm glad that seed was planted.
Right.
So just because I didn't react or that person wasn't a good messenger, because I will never claim to be a great messenger. I'm fucking not. But it's once the seed's planted, is in there. Once that thought is. So I thought maybe, I'm just going to kind of show the illusion of politics. And I think for a lot of people, it really ended up like helping them and worked out for them. But I think for most people, it just, they'll find like, so many people have told me, this is fucking hilarious to me. So many people have told me that I helped them move from the left to the right. And I was like, that wasn't. I'm like, sorry, I don't know.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
That was not my intention.
It's like,
yeah, exactly.
I was trying to put you on the napkin and you went from the frying pan into the fire. I don't know.
Exactly,
Whatever.
yeah.
That's on you.
I was like, that wasn't my intention, but okay. Like, I'm like, make that round. I feel like maybe you end up one place and then you move. It still gives you a place where you can now invalidate that side and be like, oh, this is hypocritical too. But a lot of people told me that. And a lot of people told me that I showed them that, hey, it was all a lie. But more people told me the first one. So so I think that eventually I just didn't know how to explain this shit. Cause I was just gonna keep picking at it, and I just got fucking bored. Like, it just get bored, like repeating yourself. Like, once you know that politicians are all bad, like how many times can I fucking say it? Like, I'll say it some more, but at the end of the time, like, it's just, I've said it fucking hundreds of times. So for myself to keep engaging in Twitter, I had to like start talking about something else. Right. And this should get hard to explain when you don't use the spiritual variable. Like, it's hard explaining this to people when they're not aware that there's a bigger variable. Like, even there being one incarnation puts such a block on explaining to people like the bloodlines and why people would do things now for the future, and why these people can, why would they even care about things happening that far in the future? Because they're thinking from, oh, well, we all die, well, die is over. Why would people even plan this much for future incarnations? And it's just, there's so much blocks. So eventually I was like, yeah, you know what? I need to start talking about going within and changing yourself, and that being a reflective of the all. Because at the end of the day, we can only do so much for other people. Like, we can only be a catalyst. At the end of the day, this is a community experience here spiritually. And some people really want to go be slaves. And if enough of us want to be slaves, then the minority of us, we can maneuver through it and try to connect and help each other. But the democracy of spirituality is a lot more apparent than the democracy of our political process.
Absolutely.
True.
For sure.
So
no, there's
that's
a lot
kind of how I look at it. Like, it's got to a point where I did not know how to explain it anymore. So I definitely think that people are kind of, when they're using religion, trying to moralize with the government, like, they don't give a fuck about your God. They don't care about your spirituality. Right. Like,
they'll use it against you, but that's about it.
Exactly. So I definitely agree that people are kind of missing the point on that one, but don't we all?
So speaking about God, how do you view God? Just to give you a little bit of a background, Nicco's Nicco. He has a lot of
out here.
Right. He has a lot of influences from a bunch of different places. Chad's Catholic and I practice voodoo. So we come from a variety of perspectives. Where do you come from?
I like to study all types of theology and get information from everywhere. Like, I have tarot on me, which is obviously Western. I have Eastern shit. I have Egyptian and Sumerian. Like, wherever I find information and a reflection of my own understanding, that's what I go to. I was raised in a very traditional Christian, Judeo-Christian home. My mom was Methodist, and it created a lot of problems. So I was an atheist at first. I actually followed the religion. Like, when I was a Christian, Like, I didn't have sex. Like, even I realized that I was holding on to celibacy after I was an atheist, just because I used to actually really revere that, which is not a bad thing. Like, I went back to that, but I'll digress. So I have a lot of influence from Christianity, and I find that, it's a very easy thing to connect with other people and the Christians around me with, because I find a lot of, all these theological expressions have so much in common. once you understand the symbology behind it.
For sure.
So I wouldn't say I was anything. A lot of people always like to tell me I'm a Thelemite, which no. Again, I read a lot of Crowley? Yes, I have. Have I learned a lot from him? Yes. I learned a lot not to follow that nigga up on everything he says.
For sure. Just to give you a bit of I have been sort of involved with the OTO for over 20 years.
Mhm.
So I feel you.
Yeah, straight up. Like, I think there's a lot of good information there, but I respect his intelligence enough to know I'm not listening or taking everything he says literally or directly. So for me, I like to remain boundless, but I also like to respect each practice, and also I don't like to put each people in that practice under it and under the same belt, because again, I used to have a lot against Christians. And I was, as an atheist, I was very bigoted towards them, and then I met a lot of Christians who I think expressed what, the Christ energy of what Jesus Christ does say in the text, which is, forgive and love and things of that nature. And I met a lot of those people like that, and I'm like, well, hey, this is kind of against my stereotypes of them. Maybe I'm the fucking bigot. So that was a big thing for me, just respecting everyone's religion, and also, taking from all these different religions for my own education and spiritual enlightenment.
So out of all the religions that you viewed and studied, which one calls to you? Like, which one has a place in your heart and you're like, you know what? I fuck with you, dog.
I wouldn't be able to say, like, I know a lot about Thelema, but I wouldn't say it calls to me more than anything else. I'm reading more about Egyptian and Sumerian texts right now, and the Sufis and Sufism, and that is definitely very interesting to me right now. So I would say that's the most intriguing thing now, but I wouldn't say one.
In depth with Sufism? I'm ignorant over here. This is a class for me today.
Oh yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm just learning about it myself. It's just what the ancient Sumerians and Egyptians, they had almost, I think it would be like more of a Egyptian Taoist way would be the best way I can explain it.
Cool.
Marcus, I know you're itching.
Yeah. For me, because I come from my spirituality started with Crowley too, and not really. I started off as a Christian as well, but Crowley was definitely informed my spirituality and Kabbalah. Finding my wife's actually really interested in the Sumerian pantheon, particularly Enki and Enlil and Anu and the whole pantheon, and not interested in Sitchin's take on the like space aliens and craziness. She's actually interested in all of that stuff. What I find interesting personally, and I'm curious now that you're kind of getting into that yourself, I find it interesting from a voodoo perspective. God incarnates within a voodoo practitioner. It's something that is part of the practice. What is called possession, or having the participant be ridden as a horse and those kinds of things. But a lot of what is imparted by the Loa is which is the voodoo gods, has thousands of years of archetypes that are being cast down. What I find interesting about the Sumerians in particular is that they have that indwelling spirit. They have that possession within their spirituality, but they don't have thousands and thousands of years of history. So that means that they were getting at something. They were getting at something that is core to their being. So that's what draws me to the Sumerian pantheon in particular, and also the Egyptian and early Indian, or when Indians with dots, not feathers.
Yes.
Right. But
R.I.P. this channel. No.
Right. So that's what attracts me to those pantheons. What attracts you to that? To those, because I had reposted something on Twitter that you said today about them. What is it about them that you find alluring?
To me, it was not just their practice. Well, there's no dichotomy there. Their society and their spirituality, there was no dichotomy. Yeah. Everything that they did, and this is what I'm finding like amazing and kind of trying to adapt into my own world newly, is everything that they did was spiritual to them. So when you're talking about their society, you are talking about their spirituality. And a lot of times, and even people who say they're spiritual or religious, because, you know, separation of church and state and all this stuff and that nature, and I respect that, obviously. But in a decentralized society, I would think that we would attract communities that would, for people who are spiritual and hold that in high regards, it would reflect that. And we are forced into a society that wants you to separate that. So now we are literally going out, because even like when people say, you know, Merry Christmas and God bless you, it's a problem now, because they're like, don't force your spirituality on me.
Yeah, I always thought that was weird. Like if somebody came up to me and said Assalamu alaikum, I would be like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna be like, how dare you?
Yeah, no.
See, I'd be like, what? Salami and some bacon? What?
Like, who cares? Like, it's not that big. It's not, even when I was atheist, like I never thought it was that deep. But it's like they're just trying to be nice. Whatever their blessing is to be, like who cares? But also in that society, and we go in more ancient societies as well. I would even say, you know, we go back to Rome and things of that nature. But to me, that's like the bastardized version. But anyway, in ancient societies, we would engage in this. And I think there is power in that. I definitely think there's power in meeting other people who share your spiritual beliefs, or even if they're not exactly your spiritual belief, you're getting at the same thing.
Right.
And you're having these words being said, and you're having blessings being said, and you're agreeing upon the seasonal festivals. Like, I think seasonal festivals are so important, and these periods of rebirths are so important. And, you know, we're in a situation where the national government used to say, okay, well, this is Christmas, and we're going to celebrate Saturnalia under Christmas and and all this shit. And to me, that's why I just don't like engaging, but I also respect other people's right to engage. So centralization puts me in this place to where I don't really want to involve myself with whatever rituals you're doing, at least not the way you're doing it. But however, this is what's okay. This is not what's okay, and things of that nature. So my obsession with these cultures as of now is the fact that they put and lived their life in a communal way that aligned with their spirituality. And, you know, with Christians, the regular Judeo-Christians, you know, if you do that, they'll call you a zealot, you know. They're like, okay, say that for church, you know, say that for this.
A lot of hypocrisy. Yeah.
Exactly. They don't want you to do that outside, because other people might get offended. So to me, I just really like going back to that time and seeing how I can adapt that into my own practice and make it more of a homeostasis, because I feel like when we have all these things fragmented inside of us, it's unhealthy. You know, I really don't mind people.
It causes a dissonance. It causes a dissonance in us, like our stress, and it causes stress, actually, because stress is what happens when all these little spheres of influence that we have are pulling in different directions, and we're like, part of us is being pulled in all those different directions. I do have to say that, like, my first job out of college, I worked at a radio station, and my general manager, he was from Selma, Alabama, and he said one time we had a guy who he would close his show every time out. He'd say, "And God bless you, God bless every one of you," or something like that. And my director, our general manager, he was like, "I don't think you should say that, Aaron. What if somebody else was on here and they said Buddha bless you?" We were both like, I'd be like, cool, awesome. I'm so glad Buddha's blessing me. Like, why would I be? You can be mad. I said God bless you. You can be mad at me.
Why slide dirt?
How dare you? I'm a Satan. You know, like, unless you like are Satan, you know, like that's some weird shit. Like, how you be mad that somebody said God bless you? Anyway, it was always weird.
Yeah.
Actually, I would be kind of like infatuated if they said Buddha bless me. Like, damn, dog, what else do you know? Like, no, but
the way he said it though was hilarious.
While you've been doing studying, my question for you would be, what's your position on astrology? I see you got like Jupiter, the sign of Jupiter up on your door. So expansion and good luck always coming in, that kind of energy flowing. Yes, so go ahead and dab a little bit into that, please.
I love astrology. I think astrology is a joke most times now.
It's Western.
Yeah, it's horrible. Like, people just using sun sign astrology and using it as, like, astrology is such a deep are that if anybody paid attention to it, they would be able to see like, okay, when certain conjunctions are happening or something astrological events are happening, like our apps will all update, websites will change, corporations will put certain things out. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll do certain things around these dates. And for me, that's how I learned a lot about, that's how I came out of my atheism a lot and validated certain things, is I didn't invalidate the people who ran this world. A lot of people say they're so stupid and they're so dumb. I'm like, no, they're not. It takes, even if the figureheads are stupid, whoever's doing certain actions, they're controlling all of us. They're not fucking dumb. If they're dumb, then we're beyond idiotic. Because if dumb people and dumb being, a small percentage of people can motherfucking sit here and do all this shit, like the way they flip realities, the way they change words, the way they change like programs these people and change, and the way they trip us up. Because I know I'm constantly getting caught in stuff. Like it's insanely genius. So they know what they're doing. They understand the fabric of reality to a certain way better than most people, if not all people. I just think we have other things that offer that they do not. However, they have a very strong logic, left brain understanding of this world. So I would watch them. So seeing them doing things around astrological events definitely was the thing that cemented and validated for me and wanted me to go into it. But yeah, I love astrology. I think it's beyond amazing. And
yeah, one of the things that I personally drew from Crowley, when relating to astrology and what you were talking about watching the what I would call the Black Brotherhood, which is the people that control the physicality of this world. I don't separate the state from the Black Brotherhood. I think that the Black Brotherhood is the state, and but one of the things that I try to remind people, whether in magical circles or within spiritual circles or in anarchist circles, is what we have to remember is if they are Black brothers, if these people are evil, that have made it to Da'ath and did not cross and became, slaves to that system, they were really fucking good. To get all the way through the tree of life up to the supernal triad, up to the top of the tree of life, and just not make that good leap that we're supposed to make, that means they were really fucking cool before they failed. And so we need to remember that. We need to remember that these, like you said, these are not idiots. These are not people that don't understand the cycles of nature. They absolutely understand the cycles of nature and they use them. But you're right. The figureheads, like Joe Biden ain't leading shit except for his finger into his bowl. That's about all that dude can do.
I don't know, man. I think he probably gets mixed up and he got like,
no, that's not the red button.
But at the end of the day, those are very powerful people. And I think it's really astute of you to have noticed that, one of the things we recently went through the symbolism with Hotep Jesus during the Super Bowl, and it was coming too fast, really, to really get into.
I feel like an idiot for missing the blue and gold that Snoop Dogg was wearing. That are the Mason colors and everything.
Hey,
I'm like,
man, you're
now we're on Ukraine and the Rams won, and like it's all like it all lines up now.
So overload information is a bitch. So it's like you really can't like yesterday. No, I'm sorry to like verge, but like yesterday I went to go grab crystals with my homie, and like there's this little Asian shop at the Swaparama, and they just got like a whole bunch of fucking crystals, and I'm like, what does this do? Wait, I have Google. Okay, what does oh fuck, like, and then you go and see that they have like a whole nother booth with a whole bunch of other fucking crystals, and you're like, bro, I just came here for like 2 things, and now y'all about to make me go broke. Like, I don't appreciate this. But yeah, no, that's it.
So where do you think that this interrelation, because it does appear like we're in, to go back to the separation, and it may actually overlap with some, because I know that the astrology is actually pretty interesting right now. Where do you think that the enemies, if you will, are pointing us when it comes to both our spirituality and world and freedom events?
Yeah, Yeah, I definitely don't look at them as enemies. I mean, it's easy to, but like
I do.
there's something up there. Like it's almost like it's all the illusion of separation. We can't exist without them, and they can't exist without us. So I think they want to make that balance work in their favor, obviously. So therefore, they're the enemies in that way. But I don't know. Like I'm really like. It seems like they want people to fucking know at this. Like they. It seems
I was
like
going to say, do you
people,
think they're trying to offer like an invitation to follow? Like, hey, look, this is where this shit's going. So like, you know, get on this side of whatever it is.
I think they offer multiple routes. Like it's, and I don't know why, because this is what's been like bothering me lately. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But like the green screen they put Zelensky on. I mean, even the COVID stuff, like there's a lot's mockery and because I mean I would have fun with it. It's funny as hell. Like that, I forgot who it was. It was the mayor of New York, and he was eating like fries, and he was like, "Get a fucking
De Blasio, yeah,
yep,
Bill De Blasio."
yeah, but that shit was funny, man. He was having fun with it, and that was shit. I'm sorry, that shit was funny.
Sure,
a lot of
funny's
times,
funny.
yeah, like they're having like a great time, but also something tells me there's just there's rules to transparency, but I just do not know why. But also eugenics, right? They're going to start shaping certain parts of society. So I do think they are making a manufactured awakening. Now, this could be to control what would be an actual natural awakening. Any natural actual awakening, you know, without they're constantly, you know, throwing things out there to keep us engaged and controlled. The awakening, maybe perhaps it'd be more of a spiritual, natural communicate way for it to happen. Therefore, they want to control it and make it manufactured because this is just the energy that will be presenting itself during this time. I have a whole bunch of theories of what it could be, but it does seem like they want people to know, or at least certain people of certain awareness, obviously, to know that this is a fucking lie. There's no way they're this sloppy. They have insane technology. They
out the ass.
Exactly.
Like, they got so much technology.
They could
in thousands of years.
They made it look like we landed on the moon like 50 years ago, 60 years ago.
Yeah, to the fucking idiots, which is like still crazy to me that people are still like
defending it, defending the honor of the moon landing. Like, how dare you? What is wrong with you? We landed on that bitch. You better stop it. Like,
yeah, that's why we've been back so many times since then.
I swear, one of the harshest reactions I ever had was to talking about that damn moon landing. Like, it was hilarious. I had to bring it up just to see if people are still butthurt about it. Because every time I try to like let shit like flow down, I'm like, y'all still mad, bitches? Like, you know, just to check in. But I still hear about people like, that's the girl who said the moon landing was fake. I'm like, that's what y'all remember? All this shit I said, and then I invalidated your love of NASA. When did NASA have shooters on the internet like this? I have no idea. NASA had this many shooters on the internet.
Fucking like NASA.
Right? I mean, everybody and their mama believes in NASA. They don't really take into consideration what NASA, the program, and who really runs the program. They're just like, we have NASA. Okay, but where is it founded? Like, do you know half the fucking scientists?
It's just funny to me that like right here, I got more computing power right here than they had in all of NASA when we went to the moon. And like, what are we doing now? We can't even get out of the damn atmosphere now.
Exactly.
Without shit blowing up. Like
Elon Musk out here trying to break a hole in our little dome because there's so many theories. Like, I could say this, and actually I'm probably going to say it on Twitter later, but who knows if space is fucking real? Like, to the degrees that
we might be in the Truman Show, man. Like, it's possible. Like,
look, from what I've recognized about life is that we're just like a part of a sim program, a part of God's little brain that he's got, like damn near a robotic chip walking around trying to figure out, like, okay, well, how stupid can I act today in this person? Like, there's no actual tangible theory that, like, we know what the fuck space is. Like, with all these goddamn computers, with all these goddamn telescopes, oh yeah, well, this. No, nigga. Like, I need to be on an actual ship, flying outside the atmosphere, floating my goddamn self, and then we'll get to that. And then the funny thing that they use is that, oh, well, water's just like space's atmosphere. So you telling me we could be motherfucking a big ass ball floating in water right now? But niggas don't really like pontificate amongst that theory. Nobody really thinks about, well, no, space is just space. Well, how the fuck do you know? Oh, I was told in my science book. Oh, really? What else they tell you in them science books?
Exactly. Like the fact that people give any validity to any of this shit, like I don't know. Like, I have theories based off my own intuition, and I know when shit doesn't add up.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, how the fuck would you know? And I think space is a psyop. I don't know what's going on up there. Also, why the fuck is the moon be so? I was in Colorado and we were up in the mountains and the moon was full and it was low as fuck, and I'm level with the goddamn moon. Why the fuck is the moon so low? Like, it makes no sense. Like, if it's that far away, why am I seeing the moon in the fucking morning and shit? I'm like, oh, the moon's still up. Aren't you supposed to be somewhere, guy? Like, that shit doesn't make sense. Like,
I think the key to what makes you and frankly people like us different is you said the words "I don't know." When we don't have any kind of like proof, like frankly, when it came to the global sickness we've been, I have said, if I have not seen it with my own eyes, I am not believing any of this propaganda, good or bad. I don't believe a fucking thing unless I see it with my own eyes, because there's too much nonsense thrown into it. So when somebody asks me, what do you think happened with this or that? Like, for instance, 9/11, what do you think happened in 9/11? I don't fucking know. I know what they're telling us is a lie, but I don't fucking know what happened because I don't have enough proof and enough data.
No, but like, so. even if you could, like, they're so good at concealing that shit and making it and muddy in the water to where, like, how would you know? Like, right. You're supposed to believe a bunch of lying ass politicians who gave you the 9/11 Commission report? That's where you're going to get your facts from? Some people who lie for a living? Like, no, like it's, and you weren't there. Anyway, there's so much of this stuff that is, I go back to focusing on what are they trying to distract us from on all this stuff? Because like so much of this stuff is a psyop, is a distraction. Even this, to the extent that stuff is real, like the fact that we focus on it as much as we do is keeping us from focusing on our own shit that we need to take care of.
Factual.
So what do you do in your own life, Skye, in your own life? What is your, like, I grow a garden. I have water storage. I have, things like that. What do you do in preparation for yourself? Not just a prepper stuff, but what is the one of the things we bring out is
spiritual preparation? Like,
no, in her world, what
makes you come alive?
Right. What makes you, what brings your own activism to yourself?
Could you try to reflect, what do I do to prepare and
process? Yeah,
I think he's talking more about like what passions do you have? Yeah, what's your passion? What's your thing that you do
studying spirituality is definitely my passion. I also do love gardening though. Like, yes, it's prepper. Huh?
What you got in your garden?
Oh, right now I'm going to be growing potatoes, heirloom tomatoes, some okra, because like fresh okra and tomatoes. I don't know if anyone from the South here, but
I'm in Louisiana, so
okay, yes.
My God, you already know.
Yeah, so I'm going to start growing that soon. Even that might be a little bit late on tomato season. I want to move out so I can grow Florida to a legal state, so I can grow some other things.
Facts.
So,
oh damn, you can't even throw it up in a tent and mind your own business at your crib.
I'm going to say on camera.
For sure.
But I really actually do love gardening. I love farming too. I love living off the land. Because I went to go work on a farm just for free to intern and figure out how to do certain things and farm small chickens and things of that nature. So I really actually enjoyed that as well. Weirdly, I do like finance. I don't know why. I find it very odd and contradicting to what I really care about, but it's interesting. I think that being able to make money off knowing the agenda was kind of, validating for my ego. That was for sure. You know what I'm saying? Because when just telling people things on Twitter and being right all the time, like, hey, look, I was right about this again. I was right about that. Because everyone knows I love a good I told you so.
Monetize that shit.
Exactly. Monetize that shit. And investing, I love that shit. It's so like black and white. It doesn't matter. Like you'll know in 2, 3, 4 years, the winners are going to be picked. You're going to see who invested wisely and who didn't. It's not going to be the subjective thing. And also I can use that to get what I actually want, which is farmland. Like that's my ultimate goal. That's my ultimate passion.
Same.
Is to get enough land to create a moderate sized decentralized community. So I don't think that a whole bunch of people can get together and I just don't think, I don't believe it. I think it'd be better to be like, hey, this is the Christian, Judeo-Christian compound over here, and then we're going to work with them. Hey, this is the spiritual vegans, la da 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 da, and they're going to work here. And they're going to have people who really don't have that many crazy beliefs or anything of that nature where they're stringent on, and maybe they will be able to mix. And we can all work together in separate areas with separate acreage and create more of a decentralized community there. Nice. And that's really what I want to do.
Do you have an idea of like where in the world you would love, Indiana. Just like what would be a dream place?
Yeah.
Well, I think when you leave the US, that gets difficult because the way that you would vet people and get people for this, because you're not going to be able to like help everyone with the visa process and things of that nature. Right. And so inside the US, which would be my only reason I stayed inside the US, was to simplify this process, would be probably the mountains in Tennessee for sure. I wouldn't want to be too close to the coast. I'm just paranoid. Even though I love the coast. The coast calls me.
Factual.
Yeah.
Marcus keeps trying to get you to move to Indiana, but
Indiana.
Too flat in Indiana.
Cold. It ain't that cold here.
It's not Chicago cold. Like Chicago is actually very bipolar. I'm pissed with the weather. So like it was damn near freezing and sleeting and snowing yesterday, but now the sun wants to be beautiful, and I'm like, it's still cold out. But we're what in April? Not April, but March.
Almost. Yeah,
but
we're almost.
Chicago is bipolar as all fuck. So like this weather out here is not fun. But you would want something consistent. Indiana's alright. I'm not gonna lie, Marcus. You chose
Tennessee's a good choice.
Places.
Yeah, Tennessee's a good choice.
Fairly free too. Like you can
do
your own thing there.
What I'm doing here, Skye, so you know, is I have a very similar goal to what you have. Indiana's called the crossroads of the country, and I would want to do the crossroads of anarchy here in Indiana. And what I'm starting with is we have a building on our property that we already own that we are transforming into basically not only a temple but also a getaway. Adam Kokesh is a very good friend of mine. He travels all over the place. I've got several other activist friends that travel, and I want to give them a place where they can have a nice stopover, like a bed and breakfast, where when they're traveling from place to place, they have a place they can get a good hot meal, they can have a bed, and they can have, I'm going to be putting a hot tub in there so that they can do it upright. But my eventual idea is very similar to what you are talking about. And I actually have looked at Tennessee as well because you're right. It is a good location. It's not going to have quite as much cold as Indiana does. But you're going to be dealing with, there's a reason why corn and those kinds of vegetables grow like crazy in Indiana. It's because it's not quite as hot as Tennessee is. Yeah. So you're going to be dealing with some of that kind of, difference. But I think you're thinking in the right direction. Have you put any work towards making that reality, or is it just an idea at this point?
Well, right now I'm still getting money for it, which is why I started trading in crypto and things of that nature. I mean, honestly, I also started crypto because I needed to. My job is very physical and laborious, and I also have health problems. So I'm like, all right, so I need to figure out a way to lessen what I do. But honestly, I didn't. I still work as much, and I just reinvest everything because I'm greedy. But that was the original plan, was to like use it to supplement monthly bills, but I didn't do that. So that's what I've been doing, I think, and I've been doing pretty great with it, to be honest. Getting reinvested in everything. I'm not trying to pay short-term capital gains. I got hit with that this year. I didn't even finish my taxes yet, and I'm just fucked up. This is my first year that I've made enough money to actually have to pay taxes. And I jumped a couple of tax brackets, and I'm re-radicalized, guys. Radicalized.
Yeah.
Like I was like,
Uncle Sam, get in your ass. This is a whole different story, man.
I
Like,
know. I already was like, fuck taxes. Now I'm like, fuck taxes. Like I'm just done. Before I was like, I never want to get like, why do I ever need to get married? Like I want a commitment.
No, factual.
But I don't want to actually want the state in my business. And now I'm like, I need those tax cuts. Like fuck that.
All right, so listen, you brought it up.
Yeah. I was on it too, man.
This is my opportunity right now. No. You don't get to talk. I'm muting Nicco's mic real quick.
I am a black man, and you finna mute me. You cannot stop my voice. I deserve to speak.
I kind of set this up. Wait, about a week or two ago, you put something out where somebody had gone off on some weirdo, like all this shit in their bio and all this other weird stuff. And you're like, that's it. I'm done with y'all. I'm just trying to find me a good straight man or whatever, something to that effect or whatever. So I'm just gonna say, all right, with young, like real, like strong black men,
bad job
who are not bitch ass soy boys, and who are pure blood. They're in short supply. So I'm just saying, does Nicco have a shot?
Me not getting with men is not about me not being attracted to any men. It's more so that getting with a guy would get in the way of me having a wife. But let me just be honest to the guys who think they want to date me. I am a better boyfriend than I am a girlfriend. Let me tell you, a lot of shit I call these bitches out for online, I'm also that person when dating men. Not just saying.
Right.
Wait.
So I got it. Okay, Nicco, before you get in here, let me defend your position just a little bit. All right.
Voice? What?
Right. No. Damn. Come on. You got a couple bigger brothers here trying to.
I'm gonna give the plea to the white man. Go ahead. Plead my case.
So my daughter is a lesbian. Mm-hmm. And this is beautiful news. This is gonna rock the world. My daughter and her wife just conceived a child together. They have a male that is now their boyfriend, and they have now conceived. I have a grandchild that is just got conceived and is coming along. So let's just say that sometimes you can have your cake and eat it too, or you can have your titties and a dick too. And and so
that means a whole different thing to a whole different other group.
Oh, I know, but they aren't trans.
Right? It's a whole different thing. Hashtag what is a woman?
Right. Well, at the end of the day, no, really though, tell us about what's going on, because you've been talking a lot about it on Twitter. What's going on with your love life? And then we'll try to get Nicco in there.
So during that whole stint, I was talking to this local chick, and pretty much I met this bitch. She has a master in psychology, and like my intuition was like, there's something off about her, right? Long story short, she said she was unvaccinated. She was very self-righteous about this. She was very self-righteous about a lot of the things. I ended up meeting her friend. Her bestie got drunk at the little gathering, pretty much exposed this person in front of her and her friends, not just to me, to her friends and who didn't know her either. Figured out the girl was not vaccinated. She was vaccinated. Said she wasn't vaccinated. She got vaccinated. Apparently she was super pro-choice, pro-life, but she had like 2 abortions before. And there was someone at the party whose boyfriend she hooked up with. They were both at the party. So I was just like, I'm so done with bitches. They always playing games. And I was ranting. And again, it's to be honest, I very much question my sexuality. more so because I'm begrudgingly gay. I really just do. I just rather be straight. It would be so much easier. But I be loving women, like I do. Like
I do too. Let me
I
tell you.
just really do. I really do love
Oh
those
shoot!
bitches.
I remember you told that story when you were on with Hotep Yusuf about that white girl that threatened to call the cops on you or something like that. I was like, holy shit, bro! Like what? Go. Can you go into? Do you care to go into more detail on that? Like what all went down with that?
The last one was black because I know black Twitter likes to get on me. You know, I'm just open. But yeah, fucking that shit, man. That was a spiritually awakening moment in my life. Like it wasn't the thing that did it, but it was like I have to stop living like this.
Antifa.
Yeah, right. It was actually no, she was a freaking conservative.
No, I'm just saying that's what Antifa did. They're like Black Lives Matter, and then when it's time, it's like they try to it's
exactly.
They start pointing fingers.
She was conservative, so so she really wasn't like that at first.
Thin blue line all the way.
Yeah, really though, for sure. But again, we were friends. It was a weird situation. Like we were friends. I didn't want to date her because I knew she was fucking crazy. Not that crazy, but I knew she was crazy, and we were way too incompatible. Like thin blue line, and fuck that. So but eventually, like sob stories. I was younger. I fell for some sob stories, which would never work if she came in through the romantic way, but she came in through the platonic way. So I didn't have my guard up then. And I realized that's something that I have to be very wary of when going from friends to romantic situations, is that I don't have the same hard boundaries as I do romantically, where I'm like, I'm not going to be a simp, fuck you. With friends, I'm like way more like guard down. I'm going to help you, be your friend, whatever. So anyway, I was like, okay, well, maybe we'll be open. I never promised this girl monogamy or anything of that nature. She wasn't monogamous. She's a whore. I'm like, bitch, we're both out here doing our same thing. I'm not saying just bad on her. Like, I was also a hoe. You know what I'm saying? I just was fucking with girls. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be like, hey, I was promiscuous with women. And she had more of an open situation where she was fucking with dudes. So eventually, like, she was staying with me because her job was closer. She wasn't supposed to be staying with me, but she just came with her shit one day. And again, she did have a lot going on, which she wasn't lying about. And she was very ambitious, and I gave too much weight of that. So she was going to her job and then going to school and doing all this. I'm like, all right, it's fine if you just stay at my house, which is closer to where you're going to go. But anyway, she was just fucking a horrible, horrible person. So I started trying to get rid of her. I'm like, hey, I feel like we don't have that type of romantic chemistry. I feel like maybe you do better with someone else, and so would I. And she immediately went
trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. And she was like, I'll fucking kill myself or whatever. So this happened a few times, straight BPD. It was some crazy shit. And it was me though. Like there's only so many times. No girl has ever threatened to like call the police. But it's not the first time I fucked with someone who was crazy who said they're gonna kill themselves. Like clearly there was a pattern, and there's some things that I need to heal and things of that nature. So this wasn't as alarming as it should be, but it was alarming enough to be like, okay, let me see how. I just figured she was going to get bored, and I was going to do my thing. She was going to do her thing. She was get bored, right? Before that happened, I got way too annoyed. I'm like, no, like, I can't fuck with you. You gotta fucking go. Like, and then when that happened, one day that happened, and she was just like, okay, I'm going to come get my stuff, and then we're going to talk. And she does it all the time. I'll come get my stuff. We're going to talk. But when she gets here and she just throws a fit and starts breaking down, and then she never gets her shit. I'm like, no, I'm going to get your stuff. I'm not going to fuck with it. I was being very calm because I'm very calm with women. Now with men, I am not. Like it doesn't even take a lot. Like I got some healing to do with men. Men should be happy they're not dating me because I'm fucking sensitive as fuck with that shit. What the fuck did you say? Like, no, I can't. I'm crazy as fuck with men. But with women, I'm actually insanely calm and stoic. So sorry you got the bad part, guys. So I'm like, hey, I understand you're upset. I would never, do something to your stuff. And if you find that there's something missing, you can come back and see. I never told you to bring your shit in the first place, but I'm not going to do anything to it. And I'm either going to have my friend drop it off at your job, or I'm going to put it right outside. If you're uncomfortable with putting it outside, it's cool. I'll have my friend drop it off. And she's like, I'm leaving work. I'm coming over right now, and you're going to answer the door. I'm like, none of that's going to happen. But, you know what I'm saying? Good luck with that.
But find your stuff on the front porch.
Exactly. And she was like, if you don't let me in, I'm going to call the cops. And I was like, bitch, and tell them what? And she was like, I don't know, but how do you think this is going to go down? And I was like, bitch, you said racial inequality didn't exist, and now you're using it against me? What fucking type of shit is that? Right? And I'm
what was the dude that was it Robert Gates? Was that his name? The guy, he was like a professor at Harvard or something like that. He was going into his own house and they called the cops on him and they like arrested him and everything. And then Obama and like the police had like a beer or whatever where they like talked about it and all that shit. She was trying to do that to you, like call the cops on you at your own place. Like,
I know, right? I'm like, what the fuck? So allegedly, I got the coke and anything in the firearm out the house and anything else that I'm like told my friend, hey, get this shit. I was never selling. I was just a consumer during that time.
Hey, we're talking about soft drinks. We were talking about soft drinks.
Allegedly. So I got anything of that nature. I was
water gun.
Out the house, you know what I'm saying? Just in case she actually did it. And then like I was trying to figure out what she was going to say and shit. So I was trying to be calm and talk to her. Pretty much I got proof that nothing happened and that this was got her to apologize and I had proof and receipts on it just in case that happened. Like, hey, cops, look, this is her right here apologizing for saying that shit. And once I got that, I stopped fucking with her and was like, okay, bitch, I don't care what you do. Go fuck yourself. And I just didn't have, my firearm on me for a while after that, which was not comfortable for me because I definitely stay with my fucking shit. But yep, and that's when I stopped interracially dating for a good few years. I gotten over it.
Fucking white people.
White women crazy, man. I'm telling you.
I gotten over it. I had to actually I've dated so widely. I dated white males. I dated black males. It's funny because some people ask, like, do you date black guys? And I'm like, do I look like a coon? If I'm going to date men, I'm just going to date men. I'm not going to just like say no black men. But I dated all types of shit. I really don't care. I'm a very spiritual based person. But when it comes to gender, I definitely women is a thing. But logically, I'd rather be with a fucking guy because they're more logical. Who would not? Like, if you're a straight female and you're decent looking in the dating game, let's be real, you kind of got it made. There's plenty of things that are horrible about being a woman. I don't think being a woman is better than being a dude. Like, straight up, I would straight up change if I could, like, not in that way. But you know what? If they were like, hey, you're going to reincarnate, I'm like, give me a dick. Like, give me the strength. Like, I would totally take that.
Right.
But when it comes to dating, hetero dating, straight women have that shit so much fucking easy. Like, most men do not want that fucking much. Like, okay, you cook, you're affectionate, you have a high libido, bam, you're the best thing ever. Like, that's all you have to do.
Yeah.
That's
right.
Look, men don't ask for a lot. We ask for like peace, quiet, and food.
Exactly.
Like, that's all we really ask for.
But that's all you have to do. Cook, have a high libido, be affectionate. That's all you have to do. And 70% of the men out there will be satisfied. With women, oh my God. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. And I've always been the masculine person.
Fucking calculate a supercomputer and go back to the moon and back. And then not only that, we're gonna have to finance the whole damn trip. She's not
that supercomputer updates its firmware, its software, its operating system, and everything every 15 minutes. Like whatever worked 15 minutes ago is the opposite of what works now, and it makes them angry and explode.
Exactly. Like,
it's very difficult.
I do have to tell you though, that woman does exist, whether or not you decide to include Nicco's dick in there. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. So that woman does exist. I gotta say, there is a woman out there that will make you happy. I guarantee it. My wife is amazing, and because I don't have to put up with a bunch of dumb shit. My wife is quiet. She is emotional. She is loving. She does everything you just said that you wanted in a woman. My wife does that for me. She is my companion, my ideas. if you ever get a chance, my wife did 2 of my Forgotten Freedom Fighter ones. The one that's coming up Wednesday, she did on Anne Hutchinson, which is amazing. She was a religious freedom fighter from a very long time, like 1600s. Really cool. Anyway, what my point is the women that you're talking about do exist. And I'm not trying to not argue for Nicco, because of course, if we can throw Nicco in there and have you guys having 2 women, I have made Nicco's life good.
Let me
Nicco
tell
would
you.
hate that. I
Let
have
me
such
tell
a
you.
theory that men would really hate having 2 girlfriends.
I was
have
gonna
a
say.
Oh yeah,
theory.
no, it
No,
would be
this is-
2 headaches, but
It's the
I
Frank
mean,
Barone.
if you
Yeah, it's the Frank
decided-
Barone theory.
But hear me out though. Hear your
Yeah,
boy out.
All right, we're listening.
She gonna deal with both the headaches. I'm just here. Okay. Hey, what's up? How you doing? What's up, Skye? You're gonna hear? All right, I'm gonna be in the room. I'll catch y'all later.
Oh hell
Like-
no! It'd be exactly the opposite. Like if I honestly used to be polyamorous. Like, and my ideal relationship used to be 2 feminine women, me and a co-boyfriend.
Damn. You wanted a headache for sure. you wanted arguments and complaints left and right.
No,
Who's
man,
gonna-
because you have one stoic guy, and anytime shit gets hectic, I'm like, all right, bud, you're in, have fun. And then I used to have 2 girlfriends.
My Negro, I choose you. That's basically.
He ain't lying. That's exactly. Yep. But I was like, you
That's
know what?
hilarious.
Let me be monogamous and stop running from commitment and shit.
Mm.
Okay.
Not that everyone who's
actually-
polyamorous is running from commitment. I'm not
I
saying.
actually had something to follow up. You said that you don't believe in marriage. I actually do not believe in marriage as well.
Mhm.
It's all a facade. Like Chad and Marcus, I'm not, shitting on y'all marriages. It's just that if y'all get divorced, y'all getting taxed out the ass. I don't have that. I don't need that.
Yeah, I don't.
so-
Damn, she dipped.
No, she's still there.
Oh, okay.
Just
Okay.
kind of. But long story short, it's like I don't believe in marriage to the degree of like I have to tell the government about
Yeah.
what I'm going to be doing with my partner. Like I most definitely am somebody who's reserved. So therefore, if it's going to be me and my girl, the only kind of marriage ceremony we're going to have is us doing some fucking mushrooms in our bedroom and minding our business. Like that's
Oh,
low
man.
key. That's low key it. And if our parents want to like say, oh, well, our kids are getting married. Okay, well, have a party. Everybody knows in my family that I'm getting married, and that's that. Like, I don't necessarily believe in the ideology of really signing your soul over to some papers, and then once you find out, like, oh, me and you aren't compatible, and you a crazy bitch, and you finna take half my shit. No, that's not gonna happen.
Prenup.
Yeah, prenup. Like,
Yeah.
Oh,
but the
prenup.
fact-
I'm definitely not getting married without a prenup.
Yeah.
No,
But that's
no.
the thing, though. Like, you would need a prenuptial agreement
Mm.
to be like, "Hey, I earned this equally,
Mm.
and it's my shit." Like, that. Where's the common sense? Where it's like, okay, I legally need to be like, okay, well, I'm gonna keep my shit, and you can keep your shit. But we still love each other, and our shit's together. But when you fuck up and I fuck up, and we just this shit's apart, like. The sense behind that doesn't make sense.
I think that definitely works. I think it just depends on the type of woman you date. Like for me, the only reason I would get the state involved is again tax cuts because
business
Yeah,
for business reasons.
for business. But with I would say the natural feminine energy likes stability. And for them, they see marriage as stability because for a female, let's say, depending on the girl, but let's say they're more of a traditional, I want to cook clean, they are taking a risk choosing you as well. So I think it's a mutual risk and figuring out who you're dealing with. I think if you date someone who's more balanced energy, they're not going to give a fuck. But,
Well, I know how to mitigate all that shit. I do numerology and I do charts and shit. So I'm be like, okay, these don't work. I'm not gonna fuck with you. Like, I think God made our lives very, very simple with numerology. It's just they decided to burn down the Library of Alexandria, and so therefore all of our old shit that was supposed to come here to help us out and figure out our proper soulmates, our people that we just like cohabitate with. it's very easy to like just figure out the numbers. Granted, everybody personality is different and you have to take that, but when you can line certain numbers up or certain personalities up, they'll find the grooves and the rocks and the shifts and how things work. That's why astrology is there. Like, it's simply there to really code out our personalities, our types, and how we really move and think. If it wasn't so watered down in the Western world and bullshit, it probably is different in other areas, but if it wasn't so much bullshit, a lot of people would actually be able to coexist with the right amount or right people in their lives if they knew the sciences behind it, but they don't. So therefore, divorce rates are out the ass. Not only that, but like it's also because it's like people don't really sit down to get to know themselves either. So when you have not knowing who you are, not really paying attention to the foundation of like where you come from, how you move, people just get into love for lustful reasons. Oh, her ass is big. Those knockers right there, amazing. So therefore, I'm gonna get married. That's the guy's thinking, unless he's had the proper wherewithal, knowledge, or the proper guidance to being court your woman. Make sure you learn who she is. How does she talk to her mama? Actually, ask her a few questions to see like what's inside her brain. Other than that, niggas don't do that shit.
Yeah. I talk all the time about the importance of the vetting process. Also, I totally agree on the numerology and astrology. I think it can tell you a lot. I think the problem comes in one, human error. And even if you're a person who can understand and decipher these things perfectly, there's still going to be the great will of the world. Like the will is still going to be such a huge thing that will, in my opinion, elevate past astrology and elevate past numerology and all these things. Like will, aka love, one of the most powerful things in the world. Like love cannot be explained or simplified by these equations and things of that nature. So do I think they're such a huge factor that I literally live a big part of my life of. I had to realize that I was being lazy, innocent, of not wanting to do the work. I didn't want to. It's so much easier just to read someone's chart and be like, nope. It's harder to vet them out, get to know them, get emotionally involved, and try to ask your inner self and your intuition these things. I rather just read a chart. I rather just learn more and read, left brain. And it's because of cowardice. It's because of fear. It's harder to engage emotionally. There's a bravery in committing yourself to someone. And I'll be the first one to say, when it comes to that, I'm very cowardly in certain ways. And I do not want to be fearful. So I want to find these blocks and these bias I have against myself and things that I prefer, which is logical. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people don't know numerology and astrology. It's a science. It's an ancient science. And it's the people who understand it they're not just delulus like you see most people on the internet just telling themselves. These are people who are very brilliant, who are able to understand this. And you just want to kind of go with that bias. But people who are emotionally intelligent, people who are intuitive, people who are able to consort themselves above all, even when the external world is saying one thing, they know those people are truly brilliant. And I admire them, and I want to align with that energy more. As well. So I do think it's both. I really just think it's all about balancing that left and that right.
True. No, very, very true. Niggas don't brush their teeth with their opposite hand in the morning. That's what it says. Like people, what we've been
it's powerful though.
Told is that it's like conformity. Like when my brother was going to what the fuck was it? It was an old little Catholic church and or school, and he was writing with his left hand and they smacked it out of him. No, use your right. And so I think with that ideology and it like furthering on, even though it's not a religious dominating world, it is most definitely something that you've realized a lot of people decide to use their right brains because we're all right with your right hand or right with your right hand. And then a lot of the people who use their left hands are troublemakers. I've noticed that through the generations of my family. Is usually the middle child and they're left-handed. They're troublemakers, but they're brilliant and they're creative as all fuck. And it's all because it's like when you're left-hand dominant, your creativity just is, what is it? It's not contained by a box. It's not contained by a box at all. But when you're right hand dominant, all you're going to do is just follow that structure. This line goes to that. Okay, then we go down there, and then you're in a square, and you're always going to move in a square. And so what people lack behind that is that they don't take, God gave us 2 fucking hands for a reason. Like, I wake up every fucking morning and brush my teeth with my left hand, and I shower with my left hand, and that's all my left hand gets. But it teaches me the dexterity of being creative and like really like not restricting myself to only one ideology and thought. You have to move with your whole entire body. You have to move with your whole entire intuition. Like, people don't use their intuition. They don't listen to that tiny voice. A lot of that shit just flies over their head and they're like, oh, okay. Or they're on autopilot. A lot of these mugs are on autopilot, and therefore
why you put that up there, man?
Yeah, I bet, Cam. But nah, it's just everybody's
You're
just
right.
so, what is it? It's the left side of the brain. Everybody's left side of the brain, and nobody like
right hand, left brain, left hand, right
right.
brain.
Yeah. So no, that was my spiel. That's my spiel.
So I do want to respect the time that you had said that you were going to be with us. We are at a little over an hour, so I want to respect that. One of the things I want to kind of draw this with a close is I think that you really encapsulated the love idea with one of the things you were saying. We can't decide love with a thought. We can't. We don't have that ability. I fell in love with my wife because I fell in love with her with my heart, not my brain. I was in a relationship when I met her with a woman who worked. There was nothing wrong with her. There was, everything in my life worked with that person, but I fell in love with somebody. So me and that other person had to break up, and I needed to be with my wife. But that being said, I think what Nicco said is absolutely true. If you look at mine and my wife's charts, I'm an Aquarius. She's a Leo. My moon is in Aries. Hers is in Libra.
Oh, Aries moon out here.
Yeah,
Shouts out.
and basically our entire chart, all the way through to Mars, like the only planets that aren't direct crosses and make perfect sense together are Mars. Jupiter is kind of okay, and then the higher planets. So I do think you can figure that shit out. I do think that when I saw her chart, because we had become friends before we romantically got involved, I looked at the chart and compared it to mine and went, uh-oh. We're a perfect match, and I'm in a committed relationship at the time. But again, it comes back to, that's a good guide. But the reality is that you cannot make decisions when it comes to love with your mind. That's a decision made with your heart. And I do want to kind of start wrapping this up to respect your time. It has been amazing having you on. I like hearing your perspective. What would you, and then what would you like to kind of close with? What I want to do is give you a word, then give my two brothers here a word, and then come back to you to close. Okay. All right. So what would you like to kind of close this off with?
Just make sure that anyone watching, just make sure you're doing things in your own life. Don't get caught up with the doom scroll. It's very easy to get distracted from doing things that you can and have power over. It's one of the biggest traps that I see people who know what's going on fall into. If you're doing nothing and the person who doesn't know is doing nothing, it doesn't matter that your awareness means nothing, because you haven't add will to it and action to it. Anything that you have in your mind will stay in your mind until you add will to it. That is what you need to create what you want in the physical. So always work on your will, always protect your energy, and work on what you can, and do not focus on the things you cannot.
True.
Gems.
Truth.
So Jim.
Hey, Skye, you single? What's the word? No, this was actually a beautiful podcast. Actually, like, on no bullshit, I would actually like to do a numerology chart for you. And not only that, I've actually been learning different and old style numerology calculations, and But if you're willing to, I would actually like to do a chart for you. That's one. Two is that this is amazing. Like somebody who most definitely is how do I put it? I don't want to say like you're above people because we're all on the same plane. Like it doesn't matter if you're a fucking junkie, dropout, fucking asshole on the side of the corner. Like everybody's on the same level. It's just what they apply to themselves to make themselves better. And from what I've been privy to, you've applied a lot of knowledge to learning about your ancestors to a degree when it comes to not ancestors, but like the older generations. And not many people do that. Like not many people sit down and actually really learn and take history. So I appreciate the knowledge that you've dropped here and the gems you drop. Keep cucking this world out here. You already know. And hey, go crazy for sure. Much love. Thank you for sliding through the show.
Thank you for saying all that. So thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah. So I one quick thing about this notion of love. So I think like on a certain level, love is in a sense is something that we kind of end up kind of finding ourselves in. That's not necessarily something that we can plan or calculate or make happen. Like love actually makes things happen on its own. I will say this though, that two things. One is that a lot of times we can misconstrue some other things for love, some infatuation, some emotional, upheavals and things like that, where we get excited about something lustful or whatever. We mistake those things for love. And what it actually is it's a trap for something else that ends up getting us in a lot of trouble. When we actually do find real love, that's where like some of this stuff with whether it's alignment of your astrological or numerological charts or any of that sort of stuff, what it is it's an alignment of vision, of destiny, an alignment of your ability and your willingness and desire to create like a legacy to leave behind through your progeny and also through like the stamp that you leave on the world. But what I will say is, because it's funny, like my wife and I I wouldn't say it's like a knockdown drag out, but we had kind of we had a little we were up late talking about stuff and everything last night. And so one of the things, it was interesting because like yesterday in my book that I read every morning, the one for yesterday was what does it say? It's not excusing oneself. Had I not read that conversation might have gone a little differently. but like part of love is actually a decision. Like I made the decision.
It is a decision
to not to take the advice that I received when I read that meditation yesterday morning and to not defend myself so vehemently that like I'm not even listening and I'm just trying to find a way to like avoid blame and avoid culpability, avoid any sort of correction or things that I might need to change in my own behavior. And so like I will say that's we find ourselves with someone and then it's up to us to maintain that and to keep that commitment. And that's why it's really important, like we talked about last week, it's really important that we are really good in our vetting process of not getting into relationships that are trouble from the jump. And we just don't see it because we're caught up with googly puppy eyes. So anyway.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So
but thank you so much. This was awesome. Like this was great. Like and we love watching you on the timeline.
Hold on, wait.
Stepping on necks left and right.
I look, you got one more question. Why you hating on One Piece though? I know. Look, I am such a fanboy to One Piece because it is the way the story is, and it's about friendship. It's about like how hard they. Granted, every anime is about friendship, but like it's how they hold themselves to a standard when it comes to their little crew, and their crew is only a small crew, but they do so much fucking damage that like everybody respects them because of what they can do. And so that's why it near and dear to my heart. Granted, there's 1,000 fucking episodes, and like I was like, damn, I watched this much. Damn, I'm wasting this much
Did
time.
you watch the fillers?
I have not watched the fillers. I've watched certain fillers only due to the fact that some of the fillers actually tie into the story. So I'm like, damn, I actually got to go watch that filler now. But other than that, like, I skip them because it's like, Oda, you're giving me more than what I need to digest. I'm already an obese piglet watching all your fucking shows. And like, now you're going to add more? And this motherfucker said, I'm not going to end it for another 7 years. What are you doing to me? Like,
everybody knows you're not obese. You weigh like 145 pounds soaking wet.
Mentally. You know what? I have myself, and I am 161. Thank you very much.
All right.
I appreciate the weight that I put on. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been a very, very small child from like itty bitty. I went to high school 4'11", and I shot up to this height. And God didn't want to give me 6 foot, and all my siblings are gonna be taller than me now. So. I'm struggling out here, but no, that was I was just fucking with you.
No, I understand the passion for anime because again, I don't want to go on an anime rant, but like anime was a big part of me living my life romantically, in the fact that like in animes, everything like going to the gym for me is like powering up, or like a gamer nerd, like it's powering up. It's just like one in strength, like okay, doing this, like everything's a journey, and everything, there's so much honor and like regard for their morals. And I think like for me, making everything so serious, like I'm going to do this and that and the other, and it's for fucking honor. And you know what I'm saying? Like I totally get like the passion and attachment to anime, so I totally get it.
Okay, as long as I'm not the only weirdo in here.
So is there any links or anything you'd like to drop, Skye, before we let you go?
Follow me on Alchemical Daddy. I also have, if you're into investing in crypto, Coin Daddy. I'd be giving
Both
some gems there. Go see that shit just so you can see that I'm right, even if you're not going to invest, because I just want you to remember. And yeah, that's about it. And I have a link tree in both of those. So if you want to go to any of my other shit, it's in there.
Yep. And all of that is linked below and
in the description.
For sure. And I want to thank you. This has been a fantastic conversation. Often we talk about politics and those kinds of things, but we way prefer to talk about spirituality. So
thank you. It's a weird evolution that this show has taken. Like it started off one way, and it's just kind of.
It's all right.
Look, 111. It was perfect. I loved it.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, what? The synchronicities are real in this bitch.
I know, right?
All right. Well, thanks again for coming, and stay as fucking awesome as you are. And we'll see you in the interwebs, and we'll see you on Twitter.
All right. See you guys later.
All right. Thank you so much.
Stay free, everybody.
Oh shit. Man, you said it too early. You caught me off guard. Stay free. Yeah. All right. Peace, y'all.
Stay free.